Okay. Okay. Well, right now, we're lucky enough to have Peter Foldy here, and you've been listening to some of his music from his new CD this morning, and you also listened to Bondi Junction earlier, and his new CD is called 9 Lives, and right now I have a bit of history that I'd like to share with you about Peter. He was born in Budapest, Hungary, and Peter immigrated to Sydney, Australia as a child, where he soon landed work as a kid actor in television commercials. In his teenage years, Peter befriended 3 young British lads who would ultimately find world fame as the Bee Gees. Being around the Gibbs strongly influenced Peter Foldy into a career towards music, but when his family moved again, this time to Toronto, he decided instead to enroll in a film program at York University. His interest in music, however, never waned, and Foldy eventually formed a band playing in clubs and bars to earn extra money. After deciding to demo some of his self-written songs and tapes, they found their way into the hands of an indie label who quickly signed him as an artist. Foldy's very first single, Bondi Junction, became #1 Canadian hit, earning him 2 Juno Award nominations. And after 10 years in the music business, touring and recording several other top 10 hits on labels such as EMI, Polydor, and RCA, Foldy found himself in Los Angeles, where his love of film again ignited. He soon landed a gig writing and directing films for the educational marketplace, and his initial assignment starred a young Paul Rudd as his first acting role, or in his first acting role. Long before Peter scored his first feature film as a director, Midnight Witnesses, a project Foldy wrote and produced, starring Jan Michael Vincent, Maxwell Caulfield, and Virginia Mayo, was successfully sold and seen worldwide, ending up in distribution through MGM. Other feature films followed, including the HBO world premiere of Widow's Kiss with Beverly D'Angelo and Dennis Haysbert, Tris starring Louise Fletcher and David Warner, Seeds of Doubt starring Peter Coyote and The Quirky Silverman with Eugene Levy, Joe Pantoliano, and Daniel Baldwin. And you won Best Director for Silverman, and it was awarded the Best Film at the Planet Indie Film Festival in Toronto. The film garnered a jury prize for Best Feature at Tambay Film Festival in Tampa, Florida, and it was shown theatrically in Canada and released on DVD in the U.S. by Echo Bridge Entertainment. You must be really excited about all this.
I guess I'm excited. You know, it's a part of what I'm doing. Yeah, it's always fun to make movies, and it's also a lot of fun to make music. I was very happy to go back in the studio recently and start recording on 9 Lives, this new CD that I have.
Well, it's fantastic. I've been listening to it, and I see that you graced the cover of Cashbox Canada magazine in August.
Yes, that was a very nice surprise. CashboxCanada.com put me on there as their cover story and gave the album a very favorable review. So that was very, it's very gratifying when you do something and you don't know how people are going to react, and the reaction has been really strong. The Toronto Star gave it a very nice review as well, which was also good because they can be tough especially on Canadian acts. So it's been going well so far.
Oh, that's fantastic. You're not only a singer-songwriter, but you're a filmmaker, writer, producer, director, actor, and you've exhibited some of your black and white photographs. Holy, you're a very busy man. I know I was thrilled to hear you were releasing some new music, so I know the rest of your fans, old and new, will be too.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I generally focus on one thing at a time. When I was making films, that's all I did, because that's really all you have time for. That's really a huge undertaking, to be the director of the film, because you're responsible for so much money, and 30 people sort of look to you for answers, and you don't always have the answers, but you kind of fake it and get through it, because making films is a collaborative effort. So basically, you need everyone to be doing their job, for the film to be successful. Doing music is less complicated because it's only you and the record producer and the musicians. So it's sort of simpler, and but to me it's just as gratifying.
Well, after chatting with you, it's pretty clear to me that you love what you do.
Very much so. I'm very, very lucky to sort of be able to make a living at the things that I love, because so many people, have to unfortunately do 9-to-5 jobs for 25 years and not enjoy their path in life. And I've just been, that's the thing I'm most grateful for, the fact that I'm able to make a living doing things that I love. I actually get paid for it, which is really cool.
Well, I listened to your new CD, 9 Lives. From the very first track, you can tell you love what you do. It can be felt in your songs, Into Deep, reminiscing about young love and the promises made one summer and how they were given a second chance to shine in later life. Carly, we just listened to, which was fantastic. Is that going to be a single?
Well, I'd love it to be a single, but the thing is that radio, as it once was, doesn't really exist anymore. So most of the big stations only play the top hits by the Justin Biebers and those kind of artists of the world. It's very hard to get on radio now. Back in the day, you could release a single and then people would play it 5-6 times a day across the country. Excuse me, and that's how it got into the minds of people. That's why people remember Bondi Junction, because they heard it so many times. But now I do want to release that as a single. It's a short answer. Is it possible to get the same kind of radio airplay and the same kind of penetration as I once did? I'm not sure. But I'm, definitely looking at that as the first single. So I hope that wasn't a complicated answer.
No, that's it. That's good. One of Us was one of the songs on there I really related to. A lot of people might feel that was written about them. They're feeling invisible in this life.
That's right. I wrote that about exactly that, about being invisible, about how some segments of society just are basically, we walk by them every day and just not really notice. It's just about people who don't fit in and who are just maybe feel different and not recognized by their fellow man. So, it's not a specific lyric about one group or one I could say homeless kids or any number of, groups it could be about, but it speaks to whoever relates to those lyrics, and it definitely speaks to me. I really like that song.
It's fantastic, and I was so happy to see you re-release Roxanne. For those of you that don't know, Roxanne was released in the mid-'70s.
Yeah, Roxanne was a top 10 hit for me across Canada. It was we recorded it in Los Angeles. It was very sort of poppy, upbeat, AM radio, almost bubblegummy sounding record, and I always felt that the melody had more going for it. It had more depth, and when I tried various ways to sort of play with it, I decided to sort of slow it down to give it this kind of James Brown feel, and I think it was very successful. I'm very pleased with the way it came out.
Oh, that's wonderful. I have a few questions I would like to ask you just personally here. Is Peter Foldy your real name?
It is. It's exactly my real name. It's the name I was born with.
That's not something... well,
I was born in Hungary, so it's a Hungarian name.
I was going to say, because you were born in Hungary, I expected it would be a mouthful that I would not be able to pronounce. So it has not been shortened.
That's the name I was born with.
Fantastic.
Foldy, except in Hungary, you say it backwards. You say Foldy Peter. You say Foldy first, and then Peter second, and you say it with that funny sound accent.
Oh, well, it's nice that you've kept that.
In fact, right after talking to you, I'm going downtown to do an interview with Hungarian television in Hungarian, so that'll be a trip.
Oh, I bet.
My Hungarian's pretty good, but we'll see how I stand up to tough questions in Hungarian.
Well, do you have an interpreter there just in case?
No, I don't need one. I'm actually pretty fluent. I can read and write, but my accent's probably going to be weird. Because it's just like somebody coming from a foreign land. They have an accent. So for the Hungarians, I'm sure I'll have like a Canadian or an American accent or something.
I'm sure. Was your family musical?
Not at all. Not at all. I'm the odd man out here. Nobody was musical. Nobody was in the arts. Well, I had one distant cousin who was a famous actor in Hungary. No, there was nobody encouraging me to do this at all. It's just something I've always been interested in ever since I was a kid.
Well, that's fantastic. What are your fondest musical memories?
Oh, man, fondest music. I would say opening for the Hollies across Canada, going on sort of a major tour with, airplanes and limos and playing big halls. We played the Ottawa Civic Center, I believe it was called. I think the Prime Minister was there. And, just playing those big gigs and going over well and, people recognizing the songs and applauding. It's really nice when you actually play it for people live as opposed to you don't know how people react when they hear it on the radio. You assume they like it, or you think, if the radio likes it, they wouldn't play it this many times. But going out doing big live gigs is always nice.
The appreciation is always nice to hear, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's why actors love live theater, because they get immediate gratification. They get the applause after they do the show.
That's great. I know you keep in shape jogging. If I were to find your iPod right now and I turned it on, what artist would be on it?
What artist? Well, let's see. I've got a real eclectic mix. I listen to there's a Canadian band called Simple Plan. I don't know if you've heard of them. A few years ago, really like a young, energized band that I love. I've got some Hall & Oates there, some of the old stuff. I've got some jazz from Chet Baker. He's one of my favorites. I find him super relaxing. It just really depends on the mood I'm in. I've got some Bee Gees.
So of course you would.
I brought a couple of my tracks on there just because, when I finish doing a mix in the studio, I like to put it on the iPod and then jog and listen to it and see how it feels a couple of days later with fresh ears.
That's great. Do you have a motto you live by?
A motto that I live by? Not really. I mean, you just try and, make every day a good day and be happy and try not to be too jerky to people, not that I am, but, we're human. We have our bad days where we sort of snap at people sometimes. I just try and move forward and just try and enjoy the time that we have. Because, what else can you do? You just have to take it a day at a time. The only day you really have to be happy is today. Don't worry about what happened in the past, and don't worry about what's going to happen in the future. If you're happy in the moment, then you're always happy, because it is always the moment.
That's right. Do you get nervous about deadlines? I mean, you have such a full plate between your music and film careers.
Yes, I do. The thing that stresses me out the most is being late. I cannot stand being late. I just go crazy. When I'm stuck in traffic, I was doing an interview in downtown Toronto a couple of days ago. I was driving down Bathurst Street. Toronto's all construction. It's just crazy, the construction, the condos and the road repairs. So I thought, 25 minutes, I'll be there. It's just not far. And I was stuck in traffic. And the guy was saying on the radio, hey, we have a special guest. Let's hope he shows up. And I was just going ballistic. I was trying to call the station. I kept getting machines. So yes.
Oh, like you did here this morning.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Being late completely stresses me out.
Yes, I can imagine. I'm one of these people. I'm earlier on time, and
I prefer to be, yes.
Well, then you can be a little bit feeling organized when you start things. But career-wise, you wear so many hats. So many people dream of achieving what you've mastered in your lifetime thus far, and that makes the title of your new. That's exactly.
People can do whatever they really. If you can dream it, you can achieve it. If you say I'm going to make a movie, nowadays you can get a camera for $5,000 and get your friends and write a script and make a movie. Or the same thing, you can make a record on your iPhone. So everything is possible now.
That's right, and the title of your new CD, 9 Lives, is so fitting because it would take a lifetime for most people to attain even one of the goals that you've attained. And again, setting goals is, something that you really need to do. If you got your eye on the prize, you need to set a goal to get there.
Totally. And, I called it 9 Lives not just because of, my career stuff, but also just because I lived in Hungary and I lived in Australia and I lived in Canada and I did film and television. So it's just all these different things that I've done, but in a way they're all under the same umbrella. So I couldn't think of the title of the album. A friend of mine said, Peter, you've done all this stuff. Like, you've had 9 lives. And I thought, that's not bad, you know. And then my friend called me a few days later and said, because I didn't know what to put on the album cover. And I didn't want to put a picture of myself, or, you know. So he calls me up and he goes, Peter, cats. Women love cats. 9 lives. You got to go with cats. No, I'm not putting a cat on. And then I started thinking, and I found an image that I liked. And I got a nice little kitten on the cover of my CD.
Oh, he's a cute little tabby for sure. How do you encourage people and processes to move faster to achieve the best from them?
How do I approach that?
Mm-hmm.
I whip them. No, that's not one. I don't do that. You know, I mean, just by being a good listener and figuring out what they need in order to get the best out of them. You know, that's what we try and do. Just entertainment is very collaborative. So, you know, when you're working with somebody, you basically listen to their input and you say, you know, that kind of works, but can we try it this way? Or, you know, I mean, I just usually say, all right, let's try your way and then we'll try my way and see which one we're happy with. You know?
Oh, that's great.
Oftentimes, their way is a lot better. You know?
Oh,
I do listen to other people.
it's nice. It's nice that you do that. Was it serendipitous that you became a highly successful movie writer, producer, actor, director? You know.
I'm sorry. Is it serendipitous?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think, you know, some things are kind of just meant to happen, I guess, you know, but also I've worked at it. I mean, like I said, I sort of set these crazy dreams or crazy goals and just push forward to make it happen.
And hard work and being in the right place at the right time surely doesn't hurt things at all.
I mean, I always say if you want to get hit by a car, you got to go play in traffic. You know? So being in the right place is really important. You know, but also luck. I mean, you know, so many things that have happened to me have just been plain lucky. You know?
That's great.
But when luck comes, you got to have the material. So if somebody says, "Hey, I have a record label," and you know, if you say, "Oh, that's good," you know, nothing happens. If you go, "Oh, really? I have some good songs," you know, so the fact that you have good songs, when you meet the record guy, you know, it really helps to put things together.
That's great. How do you not grow jaded and make sure you maintain a sense of loving, simply doing?
I'm jaded. I mean, I'm not jaded. Jaded isn't the word. You know, I get, you know, bummed out. And, you know, you know, believe me, it's always a struggle. You know, at every level. I mean, you know, you can look at films about movie stars or rock stars, and they're all bitter and angry. You know, because you hit a certain level, and it's very hard to maintain that. Like, I mean, the success of Bondi Junction was great, but like I said, it's very hard to get back on the radio and get played on every station 17 times a day. It just doesn't happen anymore. Not even for the Justin Biebers of the world. The whole landscape has changed. That doesn't make you bitter. You just have to sort of adjust with the time. But I do get frustrated because sometimes, you know, I think I've made a good album, and I'd love to get more people to have a listen to it and be aware of it. So, you know, that's why it's so...
And this is why we have you here promoting it today.
It's so nice of you to put it on so that your listeners can maybe check out how to have 9 lives. But, you know, so, yeah, it's always a frustrating business.
Well, what's next for you, Peter?
Well, I'm doing more promotion on the album. One thing that, you know, the new technology has done is the album's actually out all over the world. So, like, it's on iTunes all over the world. It's on, like, the equivalent of Amazon all over the world. So I have to target certain other countries where I'm going to try and promote it. The U.S. for one, Australia for another, because I grew up there, and I'm actually still an Australian citizen. I'm Canadian and Australian, dual citizenship. So I'm going to try and do some Australian promotion, some U.S. promotion, and then I've also got movie projects that I'm working on, got a couple of really good ones. And those things take a long time because they take a lot of money. But, you know, just between music and film, you know, it's a pretty full day, pretty full week sometimes.
I think so. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us this morning, Peter. And here at CKOL, we wish you the best of luck with your new music, your new CD, 9 Lives, and all your future endeavors.
I really appreciate it. And if anybody wants to say hi, you can reach me at peterfoldy.com, and it's Foldy. The album is called Nine Lives, and I hope listeners get a chance to hear it.
Well, you're also on Facebook at
Facebook,
Facebook.
I think, /Peter Foldy.
And also on Twitter.
Yes, it's at Peter Foldy, one word.
And your
on
web.
Instagram too, as of late, also Peter Foldy, one word.
Wonderful. Well, Peter, thank you so very much, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us this morning.
Well, likewise. Thank you again, and have a wonderful day.
You too. Take care. Bye for now. Well, that was Peter Foldy, and right now we're going to listen to one of the songs from his album. It's called Roxanne. It's a remake from one from the 70s, one of my favorites.
Sometimes it's magic, sometimes it's tragic. I never know what to find. I come a courting, feeling important.
That went over. Sorry. Okay, and then we'll do.
No. Okay.
Uh-huh.
You've got to have that down.
The interview.
The Canadian. Yeah. And then, actually,
I was going to do
you
end
should just a
interview.
minute. It's down here. The interview.
Can I continue to see something in you? Have you really got what I need?
And then see, I'll know that it went from 12:28 to 12:52.
Wonderful.
Okay, but the interview has to be on its own line.
Oh, okay.
So that 10:28 was your revenue, 10:52 is your new song.
Okay.
So that then, if it has to go to CRTC or SOCAN, they know that that half hour was a live interview.